House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan dropping part 2 of the Facebook files in a lengthy social media thread. He writes, quote, newly subpoenaed documents reveal Facebook bowed to the Biden White House's pressure to remove posts. He shows a 2021 email from Facebook's head of global affairs asking why the platform was removing claims COVID was man-made. The answer, quote, because we were under pressure from the administration. We shouldn't have done it. Another document showing the Surgeon General asked Facebook to take down accurate information about vaccine side effects. Facebook adding they already labeled content like this and demote some of it. Joining me now is Wisconsin Congressman. A congressman is going to be on standby for us. We'll get a shot up and running. Liz, let's start with you on this one because, look, we have known for quite a long time that the Biden administration was trying to censor, effectively censoring people on social media, directing Facebook and Instagram and Twitter before Elon Musk bought it to censor conservative voices and to do censorship tactics like this. Jim Jordan really is just kind of exposing and giving us the proof of what we knew was already happening.
And can we thank Elon Musk once again for actually starting this ball rolling? Because had he not allowed all of the Twitter files and all the Twitter information to come public, we would never have known. We would have suspected, but we would never have known the degree to which this White House basically shut down communication that they didn't want. What's really shocking to me, not only did they do it, it's also that Facebook agreed to it. It's also that the former Twitter management agreed to it. But even worse, Cheryl, most Americans are not alarmed about this. Polling shows that free speech, the fact that the government can censor you, does not scare the bejesus out of America, and it should, because this is frightening.
Let me bring in, I was just starting to introduce him now, Wisconsin Congressman Scott Fitzgerald. Sorry about the technical difficulties, sir. It's great to see you. You, of course, are a member of the Judiciary Financial Services Committees. We've already begun our discussion about the Facebook files. And I said to Liz Peek a moment ago, I'll say this to you, that basically Jim Jordan is now showing us detailed proof of what we already knew was happening. The Biden administration attempting to, or effectively, successfully censoring voices on Twitter and other platforms.
Yeah, that's right, Cheryl. We got a message last Thursday evening that, the contempt hearing wouldn't be held and that they were starting to receive literally thousands of documents from Meta. And then after talking to staff at the end of last week, it was obvious that they had, in fact, provided many of the emails that I think we knew existed. It was just a matter of trying to get them. And we were able to secure them. And they are demonstrating exactly what we anticipated was there was all kinds of pressure and influence put on by the White House, by the Biden campaign as well, basically stating, hey, listen, it not only would be very helpful for us if you would suppress these things, that also there's a few things we think maybe you could tweak that would put a little bit more favorable light on Joe Biden right now. So this is about as close as you get to literally working side by side with a political campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, now we're seeing the proof. I want to move on to this with you. Former Burisma board member and longtime Hunter Biden business associate Devon Archer appearing for a closed-door interview before House Oversight today. The Justice Department is now backtracking on a letter they sent to Archer's attorneys on Saturday demanding he report to prison on fraud charges. Well, then the new letter comes out late yesterday, and the DOJ says Archer must be free to testify before being sentenced. I asked House Oversight Committee member Nick Langworthy about this earlier. I want you to listen to this.
And Archer himself doesn't come because he's excited to be a whistleblower. He has tried to get out of this at least a half a dozen times, and now will be testifying today after essentially being threatened with contempt of Congress. That is, critically important to know that the DOJ was trying to silence that voice.
Yeah,
and,
all right.
And no objective observer could have let that go.
Congressman, your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, Devon Archer would be smart to spill the beans today. Chairman Comer and his team are going to be asking the questions again that many members of Congress are already aware of, which is, give us kind of the underlining reasons for what was going on and how were the Bidens operating. And it appears Devin Archer was definitely very close to the whole thing with not only the president, but the president's son. So we'll see what happens after he offers what I hope is, the beginning of kind of the end of that investigation.
All right. Well, again, 10 a.m. Eastern time today, closed-door meetings. Congressman, I want to move on to something that you wrote for the Wall Street Journal. It's this op-ed. It's called "America's Largest Teachers Union Isn't Beyond Reform." You write, Washington can make the NEA less political, more accountable by revising its federal charter. You've introduced a bill. It reforms the teachers union. Tell me more about this, because the power of Randi Weingarten right now, to me, is astonishing in Washington. She's the top power broker, if I've ever seen one, right now.
Yeah, we started working on this in the last Congress. It was obvious, I think, to a lot of members. It picked up a lot of steam, and now we brought it back. I think we tweaked it in a way that makes it a little more specific. But the NEA is out of control, and I think many members of Congress have known this for some time. Certainly, some of the things that we would simply take away from a national charter, which there are other organizations that kind of sit in that same spot. But they're not dishing out over $35 million every election cycle to elect Democrats. So they have this preferred tax status. They certainly have this different relationship with their own members on what they can and can't do as far as forcing them to belong to the union. So it's stuff that's been kind of happening at the state level for some time, but we're elevating it, and it seems like this Congress, we're going to be able to move something. Yeah,
well, I tell you what, Congressman, I'm really glad that you wrote the op-ed, and I'm glad that you're moving on this, because during the COVID pandemic, it became very clear that the children of this country were not the focus of the teachers union, and specifically Randi Weingarten. It was about political power. So thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Congressman Scott Fitzgerald. Well, we've got a lot more